Chapter 1 Family. I was born in England in 1632. My father was German and my mother was English. I had 2 brothers and 1 sister. We were a good family. My father was a good businessman. We had a lot of money. I had good education. I had a good life. But I also had a dream. I wanted to travel by sea. I wanted to see the world. My father was a good man. He wanted the best for me. But my dream wasn't his dream. He wasn't happy. The situation wasn't easy. I was 18 years old when my father called me to his room. He wanted to speak with me. When I came to his room, my father asked me some questions. My father wanted to know why I wanted to travel by sea. Then my father told me, traveling by sea is dangerous. It isn't comfortable. You can die. My father started to cry. I thought about my father's words. Traveling by sea was dangerous. It wasn't comfortable. I could die. But it was also very exciting. I could see new countries. I could meet new people. I thought about traveling by sea every day. It was difficult to be at home. I tried to speak with my mother. I told her, I would like to travel by sea very much. I want to see the world. I told her, please, help me speak with my father. Maybe with your help I could travel by sea. My mother loved me very much. But she thought the same as my father. She thought that traveling by sea was dangerous. She thought that the best was to stay at home. She thought that life in England was the best for me. 1 year later I visited Hull, a town in England. It was the 1st of September. It was the year 1651. I met my friend. His father had a ship. They traveled by sea very often. Their next journey was to London. My friend told me, go with us. I thought about it. I wasn't prepared for this journey. But I could try if traveling by sea was for me. So I went to London. I was very happy. It was my first journey by sea. It was very exciting. The first hour was great. But then we started to have problems. We saw a storm. It was closer and closer. The wind was stronger and stronger. The waves were bigger and bigger. The ship went up and down. I had fear. I thought about my home. I thought about my comfortable bed. The storm was finished in the morning. The weather was nice the whole day. And the evening was beautiful. Everything was so quiet. One man came to me. We talked. He made some jokes. They were funny. He asked me about the weather. I told him about my fear during the storm. What storm? He said. The little wind. He laughed. He offered me a drink. I drank a lot. Soon I was drunk. I slept very well at night. The next day, I forgot about my home. I forgot about my comfortable bed. I started to dream more about traveling by sea. The next 3 days, the wind wasn't good. We went very slowly. Then the wind was stronger. We went faster. The next day, another storm came. The storm was bigger. I was really scared. I saw that the other men were scared too. Chapter 2 Storm. I was so scared that I could only lie in my bed. When I looked outside the window, I saw the waves. They were very big. They were like mountains. I saw other ships. They were like toys. The waves played with the ships. I wanted to go home again. The storm was really big. Everybody asked God for help. Then, somebody saw a hole in the ship. A lot of water was inside. It was a terrible situation. Many men went down. They pumped the water out. I was so scared. I couldn't move. But then one man came to me. He told me, "Go down and help." So I went down. We pumped the water out. Then I heard a gun. It was a signal from our captain. It was a signal that we had a big problem. I thought that we had no chance. Our ship was very broken. I thought that it was our last day. We worked very hard. We tried to pump out the water. But the hole was very big. More and more water was inside the ship. The weather was better, but the ship was full of water. We needed help. We saw another ship in front of us. They sent a small boat for us. The men on the boat risked their lives for us. We all went on the boat. It wasn't possible to go back to their ship. It was already very far. 15 minutes later, our big ship went underwater. We were safe on the small boat, but I was still very scared. We saw a land. We tried to go to it. We were closer and closer. Soon we saw people on the beach. They were from a near village. They waited for us. They were really nice to us. They helped us. They gave us some money. We could go to London or Hull. I went to London. I traveled to London by land. When I was in London, I met a captain. He was very kind. He offered me to travel with him. The captain wanted to go to Africa. I thought that I could make some money there. The captain told me about the business in Africa. He told me what to buy in England. He told me what people in Africa needed. I bought things which were popular in Africa. They were cheap in England. But they were expensive in Africa. They were expensive because nobody made them in Africa, but people needed them there. Then we started the journey. The journey to Africa was successful. I returned to England with some money. I was happy. I wanted to travel more. I wanted to do more business. I also wanted to learn how to control the ship. The captain taught me the basic skills. I decided to go to Africa again. The journey started well, but soon we had big problems. A ship started to follow us. It was a pirate ship. It started in the morning. In the afternoon, the pirates came very close to us. They attacked us. They tried to connect our ships. We pushed them away. Then, they attacked us again. This time, they were successful. Many men came on our ship during the second attack. They started to break everything. Some of our men were killed. Some men were injured. We couldn't win. We stopped the fight. We all became prisoners of the pirates. Chapter 3 Woman. I was young and strong. I became a slave to the captain of the pirates. I felt very sad. Slaves had a horrible life. They had to work hard. I worked every day for many hours. I worked in the house or in the garden. The captain told me what to do. I didn't like the work. I wanted to change my situation. I wanted to be free again. One day, I met a young woman in the house. She was so beautiful. She was also a slave. She cleaned the house. I tried to speak to her. She didn't speak my language. But I felt that she understood me. I liked her very much. She was very attractive. When she saw me, she smiled at me. Sometimes she touched me when she was close to me. But it was only a short moment. If the captain saw it, he could send her away. I thought about her very often. I wanted to meet her every day. But she wasn't in the house every day. When I thought about her, I felt a nice feeling in my heart. I thought that I loved that woman. I felt that she was my girlfriend and I was her boyfriend. But our relationship was complicated. We couldn't be officially together. Slaves couldn't have relationships. It was so sad. The captain sometimes took me with him when he wanted to catch some fish. A young boy and I helped him fish. We used a small boat. Sometimes we fished with somebody from his friends. One day, fog was around our boat. We saw nothing. We were lost. We tried to get to land the whole day and night. We got to land the next morning. When we were back home, the captain told us to use a bigger boat. The bigger boat was better for longer journeys. One day, the captain gave me instructions: put more food and drinks on the boat. Bring some guns too. He waited for important guests. He wanted to catch fish with the guests. They also wanted to hunt animals after the fishing. But the guests never came. Then, the captain told me, prepare the boat for fishing for the next day. This was my opportunity to run away. A lot of guns and food were on the boat. I prepared the boat for fishing as usual. But I left the guns and food on the boat. The next day I could run away. This was my plan. I thought about the young woman. I wanted to take her with me. But I didn't know how to do it. It wasn't possible to take her on the boat. I was sad. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to be free. But my heart wanted to be with her. Then the morning came. I hoped that I could see the young woman in the house. Then I saw her. She was the most beautiful woman in my life. When I looked at her, our eyes met. She knew that something was different. Maybe she understood that this was our last moment together. She looked deeply in my eyes. She touched my hand. I felt that she understood. Her face was sad. My face was sad too. She smiled at me a little. Then she went away. This was the last moment when I saw her. 1 hour later, we were ready. I and the boy went to the boat. One of the captain's friends went with us. He was our boss for that day. Chapter 4 Lion. Soon, we were far from the land. I pretended that I couldn't catch fish. Then we went further from the land. Our boss said that we could catch fish there. At one moment our boss went to the front of the boat. I quickly pushed him into the sea. He tried to swim back. I took a gun. When he saw the gun, he swam away. After he swam away, I turned to the boy. I wanted to know if he was on my side. I saw that he was on my side. After 2 years I was finally free. We tried to go as fast as possible. The wind was good. We were far from the pirate land the next day. But I was still scared of the pirates. I didn't want to be caught again. I was so scared that I didn't let the boy stop the boat for 5 days. On the 6th day, I felt safer. We took the boat close to the land. We saw a little river. I didn't know where we were. We had to stop somewhere because we needed fresh water. We waited for the dark. We wanted to go up the river where the water wasn't mixed with the sea water. But we started to hear horrible noises. The boy didn't want to continue. He was scared. We stayed on the boat near the river. But we couldn't sleep. Some animals came to wash in the water. They made horrible noises. The boy was very scared. I was also scared. We heard that one animal started to swim to us. The boy asked me to go away. But I didn't want to go. I took one gun. I shot at the animal. The animal turned. Then the animal swam to the land. The other animals heard the gun. They went away too. We stayed on the boat until the morning. We ate bread in the morning. Then the boy said, "I would like to go to the beach." I decided to go with him. We had 2 big bottles for water. We took some fresh water from the river. The boy wanted to go inside the land. I didn't want to go very far. I still wanted to see the boat, so I stayed on the beach. The boy went inside the land alone. He returned after some time. He had an animal in his hand. It looked like a chicken. He was very happy. I was happy too. We had good meat and fresh water. I didn't know where exactly we were. I only knew that we went around the coast of Africa. I hoped that we met an English ship when we went around the coast. I thought that we were in a land where nobody lived. We didn't see any people on the land. We only heard wild animals sometimes. One morning, when we went for fresh water, we saw a lion on the beach. He was very big. He was only 20 meters from us. The boy was scared. When the lion saw us, he started to run to us. We didn't have much time. I had to shoot at him. I had 3 guns. The first bullet hit its leg. The second bullet hit its head. He was seriously injured. The third bullet finished the animal. We couldn't eat the meat because it wasn't good. But I wanted to take the skin. We put the skin on top of the boat. The skin was dry soon. Chapter 5 Ship. For the next 10 days, we continued our journey around the coast. We only stopped when we needed fresh water. Soon, we saw that people lived on the land. One day, we saw a big group of people. They had a lot of children. They watched us from the beach. I wanted to stop. I wanted to go to the people. But the boy didn't like this idea. He was scared. The people on the beach wanted to give us some food. 2 men ran to the forest. They returned with some dry meat. We didn't want to go to the beach. But they didn't want to swim to us. We didn't know how to get the food. The people saw this. They put the food on the ground. Then they went back. When they were far from the food, we took the food. Then, we weren't scared of the people. They came to us. We thanked them. But we had nothing for them. At that moment, we saw 2 animals. They came from the forest. The animals started to run to the people. The people were scared. One animal attacked a young girl. I shot at the animal. I killed the animal. The second animal was scared. It ran away. The people were shocked when they heard the gun. They were also shocked when they saw that the animal was dead. They were happy that the girl was alive. They thanked us. They brought us more food and water. We had a lot of food and water on the boat. We didn't stop for 10 days. We saw some islands the next day. I thought that we could visit the islands. But at that moment the boy started to shout. He started to shout because he saw a ship. The boy was really scared. He thought that it was a pirate ship. But I looked at the ship. I saw that it was Portuguese. But nobody on the ship saw us. So I fired a gun. They heard the gun. They saw us. Soon we were on the Portuguese ship. They spoke Portuguese, Spanish and French. But I didn't understand them. Fortunately, there was a Scottish sailor on the ship. He came to me. I told him our story. Then the sailors started to be very nice to us. They agreed to take me and the boy on the ship. We were both very happy. We offered our things to the Captain. But he didn't want to take our things. He said, I would like to pay for them. It was very nice of him. I told him that he could buy our boat. I gave him a good price. It was a half of usual price. He could take the rest for free. The captain agreed. The captain also wanted to train the boy as a sailor. I didn't like this idea. I thought that he was too young for this job. I thought that the boy also needed freedom. He didn't need to start another service. Chapter 6 Wife. The boy wanted to work for the captain. He wanted to be a sailor. So he started his training to become a sailor. The ship was on the way to Brazil. We arrived there after 22 days. I said goodbye to the boy and the sailors. Brazil was a new state in South America. Many people started a new life there. It was the same for me. I didn't know anybody there. Soon I met people who had sugar plantations. They became my friends. I liked Brazil very much. Soon I learned the language. I had some money from the captain. I bought some small land in Brazil. I started to produce sugar. I didn't produce much for the first 2 years. But then, my plantation grew fast. I was single but my life was good. I was independent. My financial situation was better every month. We paid only small taxes in Brazil. The society was new. We didn't have many rules from the government. Soon I had enough money. I could hire a lady for cleaning my house. I asked my friends if they knew about any good woman. One of my friends said, I have a daughter who is 18 years old. I think that she could work for you. She is also a very good cook. The next day his daughter came to my house. She was friendly but a little shy. She was also a very pretty girl. We talked shortly. I told her what I needed. The next day she came to my house. She cleaned the dirty floor and my furniture. She took out the rubbish. She came to my house every morning on Monday and on Thursday. She stayed in my house for 4 hours. She cleaned the house. She also cooked for me. She gave food to my cat too. I was always happy to see the girl. Sometimes we had breakfast or lunch together and we talked. Then she was ill for 1 week. She couldn't come to my house. I felt a strange feeling when she wasn't in my house. I really missed her. I thought, maybe I love her. 1 week later she came to my house. I was really happy to see her. I saw that she was happy too. I hugged her. Then I kissed her. It was a long kiss. 2 weeks later I went to her father's house. I asked him if I could marry his daughter. He was quiet. I waited for his reaction. Then he said, I agree. I was the happiest man in the world. 2 months later I married the daughter of my friend. We started to plan a family. This period of my life was great. We had big plans for our family and our plantation. We needed a bigger house. We needed more money for a bigger house. I thought about the business in Africa. I could make a lot of money in Africa quickly. I spoke about Africa with my friends. Some of my friends liked this idea. Chapter 7 Hurricane. One day, 3 of my friends came to our house. They told me that they wanted to go to Africa. They asked me if I wanted to go with them. I said, yes, I want to go with you. We started to prepare all the necessary things for the journey. Soon we were ready to go. I said goodbye to my wife. Then we started our journey. Our plan was to be back in 2 months. We left Brazil on the 1st of September 1655. Our ship was very big. But we were only 17 men. The ship was full of things for business. We had cups, glass, mirrors, knives and other products. The weather was good but very hot at the beginning of our journey. A hurricane came 1 week later. The hurricane was extremely strong. Our ship was in danger. When the hurricane was away, we saw that we were close to the northern part of South America. We were near the Orinoco River. This wasn't part of our plan. The ship was broken. We couldn't go to Africa. The captain wanted to go back and repair the ship, but I didn't want to go back. We talked about it. We decided to go to Barbados. We wanted to repair the ship there. Before we got to Barbados, a second hurricane came in the evening. The wind was very strong. The waves were big. Then one man shouted, "Land." When the man shouted, "Land," the ship stopped. The sea wasn't deep enough. It was bad for our broken ship. The ship could break every second. We had to go on a smaller boat. This was very dangerous. The boat was very small for 17 men. But we had to do it if we wanted to save our lives. So we were on a small boat. The waves were very big. The wind was extremely strong. The wind pushed us to big rocks. We knew that the crash was close. Suddenly, a big wave came. The wave overturned the boat. I was underwater. I couldn't breathe. I didn't see the other men. I didn't see the boat. Then my head was above water. It was only a short moment. But I could breathe. I saw a little beach between the rocks. A big wave pushed me to the beach. I was still in water, but I felt a land under my feet. I knew that I had to stand up. I had to get out of the water before another wave came. But my body was weak. I couldn't stand up fast. When another wave came, I was under the water again. I couldn't breathe for a while. But then another wave threw me back on the beach. I tried to get up. I tried to go further from the sea. I was able to move 10 meters. Up. I was safe. But my arms and legs were very weak. I collapsed. I didn't move for some time. After some time, I was able to get up. I looked for the others. I couldn't find the other men. Chapter 8 Island. I was probably the only person alive. All my friends were dead. I only found 3 hats and 2 shoes on the beach. It was horrible for me. The weather was still very bad. But the waves weren't so big. I saw the ship. It was far from the land. I looked around. I had almost nothing. I was wet. I had no other clothes. I had nothing to eat or drink. I had no good weapon. I had only a little knife which I found in my pocket. The situation was really bad. How could I survive with only a little knife? First, I tried to find some fresh water. I found a small river. I drank the water. I was scared of dangerous animals. I made a weapon from a piece of wood. I spent the night in a large tree. When I woke up the next morning, the sea was calm. I could still see the ship. I needed to get some things from the ship. I took off my clothes. I swam to the ship. I didn't see a way inside the big ship. I swam around it twice. Then I saw a rope on one side of the ship. I used the rope to get up. The ship was empty. I tried to find some food. I was lucky. Some food on the ship was dry. I also found a bottle of rum. I took the bottle with me. Then I heard something. Somebody was on the ship. Who was it? Somebody from my friends. It wasn't possible. My friends were all dead. I was a little scared. I went to the place where I heard the noises. Then I saw who it was. It was a dog. It was a dog of our captain. Now, I had a friend. I wasn't alone. I had to carry the food, rum and the dog to the beach. But I didn't have a small boat. On the ship, I had to make a raft. I found some wood. I made a raft from the wood. I also needed some clothes. I started to look for the clothes. I found some. When I looked for clothes, I found a box with some tools. I found a nice carpet next to the box. I also found 4 guns and dry gunpowder. I put everything on my raft. The sea was calm. The wind went to the land. This was all good. Soon I was on the beach. I started to look for a place where I could stay. I saw a hill. I thought that from the hill I could see where I was. I took a gun and I started to walk to the hill. I got to the top. I saw sea around the whole place. I was on an island. I saw 2 small islands near. One was to the north. One was to the west. I also saw a big land to the south. It was about 100 kilometers far. I saw nothing to the east. I saw only the ocean. I didn't see any sign of people on the island. I saw only wild animals. Chapter 9 Tent. I saw many birds on the way back from the hill. But I didn't know their names. I didn't know if I could eat their meat. I killed one bird, but its meat wasn't good. I went back to the raft. I moved my things further inside the land. I wanted to go back to the ship again the next day. I wanted to move all the useful things to the island. The next storm could destroy the ship completely. I made a small tent near the beach. I brought all the things which could be destroyed by rain or sun inside the tent. The night was close. I put some clothes on the ground. I wanted to sleep on the clothes. I also put 2 guns next to my left shoulder. I also put 2 guns next to my right shoulder. I had many guns around me. Now, I felt safe. I was tired from all the work. I fell asleep very soon. I swam back to the ship the next day. I made a second raft. I put many things on it. I was especially happy with 7 new guns and some beds. I took all these things safely to the beach. I went to the ship the next day again. I brought back many useful tools and other objects. For example, I found a lot of candles. I needed candles on the island. I also found 2 big boxes of tea. I made a lot of visits to the ship. One day, I discovered a box which was closed. I found a key under the box. When I opened the box, I saw some coins from Europe and Brazil. Money wasn't useful on the island, but I still took the money with me. I also found playing cards with pictures. They were pictures of the king, the queen, and other people. I could play some games. I could have some fun with the cards. The next day, big dark clouds were in the sky. They were bigger and bigger. The wind was stronger and stronger. I visited the ship, but I didn't make a raft on that day because a storm was close. A raft could break easily in a storm. I swam back to the beach. The wind was really strong that night. Fortunately, I was safe inside my little tent. The ship was gone the next morning. I knew that I could stay on the island for a long time. I wanted to make a nice place for me to live. I also needed to be safe. I could look for a cave. Or I could make a bigger tent. Maybe I could do both. I Needed a place which was close to fresh water. The place had to be in the shadow. The place also needed to be easy to protect. I also needed a view of the sea. I wanted to be able to see ships. I found a nice place next to a big hill. I decided to put my tent there. The hill protected me from one side. I built a fence on all the other sides. There was no door in the fence. I used a ladder when I wanted to go over the fence. I took all my things inside. I had more plans in my head. I made 2 tents. One tent was big. The second tent was small. The smaller tent was inside the bigger tent. Chapter 10 Calendar. The bigger tent protected the gunpowder and the food from rains. I lived in the smaller tent. When the tents were finished, I started to dig a cave at the bottom of the hill. I wanted to use the cave for food. I brought stones and earth from the cave to the fence. I made a terrace on the inside of the fence. I still worked on the cave when a storm came one day. There was some lightning during the storm. I thought that the lightning could hit one of the big boxes with the gunpowder. The explosion could destroy everything. It could even kill me. I was scared. I needed to make a change as soon as possible. After the storm was gone, I opened the boxes with the gunpowder. I put the gunpowder into smaller boxes and bags. I hid the boxes and bags in the rocks. I had a lot of gunpowder, so this took me 3 days. I also hunted every day. It was a break from the hard work. And I also needed some meat. Thanks to this I also started to know the island and the animals more. I discovered some goats. I hunted the goats. Then I had enough meat. I was sad sometimes. I thought about my wife. I missed her a lot. I thought about my friends in Brazil. I thought about my parents. I thought that living on this island alone was without meaning. I knew that traveling by sea could change your life completely. It could be great, but it could be horrible too. I knew that my friends from the ship were dead. I knew that I was the only person alive. I was lucky to be alive. I was also lucky because I had all the things like food, guns and clothes. I couldn't survive without these things. I decided to make a big cross. I put it on the beach. It was near the place of my arrival to the island. I wrote on it the date of my arrival. It was the 30th of September, 1659. I wanted to keep information about time. The cross was my calendar. I made a small cut in the cross every day. The 7th cut was longer. It marked the end of the week. The beginning of each month was also a longer cut. One day, I thought about my situation. I had negative thoughts. This wasn't good. I decided to make a list of all the good and bad things in my life. I was alone on this island. I had nobody for a conversation. I had only a little chance that I could see England again. But I was alive. I was safe. I had my freedom. I had food to eat. This was all positive. I didn't have any good clothes, but I didn't need a lot of clothes on this island. I had a dog. He understood some words. He understood when I said, sit down, come here, bring it, don't do it, don't jump, let's do it, let's eat, let's run. This list showed me that my situation wasn't perfect. But I had also some good things in my life. I tried to concentrate on positive things only. I continued to make my place better and better. I made the cave bigger. More space in the cave helped me keep all my things organized.